Hey everyone, thank you for joining the theme stream, which is where I build an entire big box theme from scratch for LaunchBox. If you are new to LaunchBox and you're interested in making your own theme, I guess this is the place to be. If you don't know anything about LaunchBox, I should have some links down in the description. It is a video game themes front end. But really, this is a stream for people that are interested in theme creation for front ends, or interested, maybe you are already creating themes and you just want to follow along, learn something new. But that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to use a program called Community Theme Creator, which is also you're able to get from the LaunchBox forums, created by an awesome guy named Y2Guru. He updating the app right now, and he's sending me messages about the app at the moment. Let me reply to him quickly. Okay, so today I'm going to create another theme based off of the porting of, so I'm going to port a theme, an ES theme. I think it's fairly new. Let's see, ES theme. You guys, what it looked like, I gave a sneak peek in the last video. I would not be able to say his name, but this guy's made some awesome themes for Emulation Station. Chichilo, something like that. But you can see that the platform view is pretty awesome. And once I saw it, I realized this would be perfect for a theme like this. I could show you guys how an awesome theme like this could potentially be ported to LaunchBox and have it actually work. Now look at all those. He has all the artwork. When I approach a theme like this, it's not always perfect. Every single front end has their own little intricacies, things that they do better than others. So because I'm familiar with LaunchBox, I can look at a picture like this and I always try to say, okay, what would work, what wouldn't work. Already when I see this, it looks like he has a little dot indicating where they are in the platform list. And at first I thought I could do that, doing a little workaround with a text list, but it doesn't really make sense to do it that way, because even though what I find is that with ES themes, or at least the ones that he's built, there's a specific amount of supported platforms with these, and there wouldn't be platforms. You can't just add your own platform if you wanted to out of the blue. You'd have to do some work in the theme to make it work. But with LaunchBox themes are platform agnostic. You don't need to, I build a theme or you build a theme, and we don't know what systems you have, so we have to take into consideration every system and or playlist or whatever. LaunchBox is really versatile when it comes to what you can add and what you can name it to. So we kind of have to do our best and support everything, make everything unique. And this wouldn't really work because I would be scrolling through the list, it would just sort of stay in the middle as you're going through all of your platforms, because there's really only so many dots, and we have way more platforms than this. So not really useful. So I'll probably take out this. And what I kind of did was I did a mock-up. So here's sort of everything I had. I started with, I downloaded from the GitHub the theme, and you can see it's just a bunch of folders, and you can see what he supported. Up here, he looks like he put his artwork there, which came with the controllers. You can see here, which came with the indicators, and you can see these indicators are just screenshots. Each one's a screenshot, and each one is a specific order that he's put these in. And so if you had a platform that wasn't one of his that he supports, it wouldn't really work. Okay, so he has his posters, which is great. But you can see, I'm not sure if these are naming conventions for Emulation Station, or if these are naming conventions that he's made up. But they're not the naming conventions of LaunchBox. So I had to go through and I had to change the names of all of these pictures. I had to change the names of the controllers. So this is sort of like pre-work that I did ahead of time that I'm just sort of not going to show you guys. Another thing that I noticed, see here how the screenshot, it's kind of, can't see it there, but if you see it in here, let me see if I can make it bigger. He's put, I don't know if all the screenshots are the same size for a specific reason that he was doing, and he kind of left a lot of empty space. So I ran it through a program and I got rid of all the empty space and just made the controllers the size that they are. And then so after I did that, and I saw like the fonts that he's using, and there's this background that he uses. I'll show you. I think there's one screenshot here where like this is the platform view, and then here's the list view. The list view is not on the same level. If I had to, it's just my opinion, but this is like an Epic view, and then this is sort of like a standard text list view. So I'll rebuild that, but maybe we'll do something extra as well, because I want to give this view, you know, the games treatment. I want the games treatment to the games view to look like this as well. So maybe we'll tackle that in this stream. And so what I'm looking at is probably recreating this platform view, recreating the text list view, and then maybe a third view where I recreate this view for the games. Something like that. We'll see if we can do that in this stream. Okay, so I did a bunch of prep work for this, and I created some mock-ups for those three. Here's the platform view. So you see I took out the side. It makes it look a little cleaner. And I'll probably try to just make this the view. So let's start off. I'll just do this for anyone that's new and that didn't watch any of the previous videos. But if you go to the forums, and I'll have a link to LaunchBox, I'll have a link to the community theme creator and all that stuff in the description of I'm guessing both, if you're watching this on Twitch or if you're watching this on YouTube. But here you go to the download section on the forums, forum.launchbox/app.com, and I will find the community theme creator. I believe it's in a section called third-party apps and plugins. Hey, it's number 1 right now, community theme creator for Big Box. And you would download this, put it anywhere that you want on your system, and it should come out. So I have it in a folder. Let's take a look. In D, I have a LaunchBox folder and tools. I think this is the newest one, even though I haven't updated the number. I think the most latest one right now is 1.0.7.6, if I'm not mistaken. That number will keep changing. Y2Guro's working on it every single weekend at the moment. So it's getting a lot of updates. And we just open it. The first time you open it, it'll ask you to type in your name, some information, and it'll ask you to point it to your big box folder. Once that happens, it opens up, and it just looks like I don't know if I double clicked it. There it is. The reason why you point it to your big box folder is because you essentially, it uses all of your metadata, it uses all of your images and stuff that you've already downloaded into your LaunchBox, and it presents it in the theme creator like a canvas. So we'll take a look here. Okay, so Epic Noir, let's give it another name. Do something just to differentiate it from the ES theme. So when I read, I was going to choose editorial or editorial noir. The reason is when I read his description here, it says it contains an editorial feel and with an epic look, and that's true. Like, it's basically like from a magazine or something. So let's do it. Editorial. This is a port of the ES theme called Epic Noir by, let's get the guy's name. There we go. Okay, and I think that text just gets added to the code inside one of the views or something, just in case someone's perusing the code later on. Okay, so of course I recommend, if anybody is that in the future, if you guys had any questions, it's best to join this stream as I go through this stream, and I could answer them for you right on the spot. But for now, I just gotta guess what you guys are thinking. Sort of every stream, I kind of go through the basics here. So I went up here, and you can see a bunch of options. I don't want to go through all of them. I created a new theme, and down here, every single dot represents a different view. In LaunchBox or in Big Box, everything's created by views. We get, I wouldn't call it a template, but only so many sections that we can play around with, and then we can make each section look the way that we want. So this gives you a better, if I click here, system view, you can see all of them that we have the ability to create. You can see that we have only 4 platform wheels, which basically means if I wanted in one theme to include 4 different types of views for my platforms, I can, but I can't create 5. Like, that's the limit. Same with these wheels. These are more vertical type of wheels, up and down, scrolling through the menu. I only have 4 to play around with. But then I have a couple of horizontal wheels. And even though, let's say, I could create a horizontal wheel in one of these, it's not really made for that. There are some little issues around that. I'm not sure if it's still a problem, but there's problems with like bringing up certain elements like the index and that sort of thing when you kind of convert the wheels into different orientations. And then we have like a bunch of text views and stuff. So we actually only have one game's text view. I've always had, so that could be an issue because that's used for both the text games view and a details page, and I'll show you guys later what I mean by that. But for now, let's start with the platform view. When I build a theme, I usually break it down into 2 sections, I would say, and that's the actual layout of the theme. So let's take all the elements that we want, let's import it into this canvas, place it the way that we want, and then after we do all that, then let's worry about the second phase, which is the actual animation of it. what I love about Big Box is that the animation is so versatile. And before, we used to have to do it just in XAML code. We had to put numbers to all the animation that we want. It was sort of hard to visualize what was going on. Now with the community theme creator, you can put some animation and see instantly what it does. And so really, it's like it feels like a storyboard, basically. You can easily create all these nicer animations quicker and make the theme look more alive. Let's start at the beginning here. I'm going to go into the edit view of this Platform Wheels 1. So it automatically creates one element here. If you're familiar with Photoshop or programs that use layers, this program does the exact same thing. So each one of these, like this wheel, is one layer. If it's on top of another thing, then it will be on top. If I create a second layer, let's say a rectangle, and you can see the rectangle is now on top of the wheel, but I can move it if I click on this side to above. And now you can see that the wheel is on top of the rectangle. Unfortunately, at the moment, we can't see what the wheel would look like. That's one thing I know Y2Guru would like to get done, but it's a lot harder than it seems. So we just have to imagine this is our wheel, and there's a bunch of properties. For example, the wheel type is horizontal images, which means that you would scroll left and right to go through the menu. Right now we want vertical images, up and down, which I think should be the default. But if I'm looking at this, I probably won't even use the wheel. So I'm thinking, let's do what, since I already created a bunch of mock-ups and stuff. So here's the mock-ups. Let's do this. So let's create an image. When I create an image, right here, so the media folder. So if I open it up, it actually opens up exactly where all the stuff, all of my media that I want to use should be. Is in the theme creator, my projects, and then editorial, media. Okay. Let's see what I got. So here's all the backgrounds, and I named them the way that they should be named within LaunchBox standard. I'm gonna drop, and same with the controllers, I just gave them the names of their platform that they're associated with based on LaunchBox standards. I talked about where you would get LaunchBox standards in the past, and I think I'll tell you guys. Let me just copy this in here. What else do I have here? I have a theme. Okay, so star rating. I have these star ratings from when I was creating an old theme. My cover box themes. I have all these different colored star ratings. If you wanted to build your own, you can kind of take, a lot of people have made these star ratings where there's like 5 stars, and you could see that each one, what happens is that you take the star rating, which is always 2 digits, digit dot digit, and you'd have to create an image for every single star rating all the way up to 5. 0.0 to 5.0. And then that's how you get sort of like the rating. The text comes in from LaunchBox and it says this game's rated 3.4. Then we take that and we say, if you look in this folder, look for an image called 3.4.png, and then it finds 3.4 and then it loads that image. We don't have to really worry about the coding behind it anymore, so you just have to worry, get a folder, create an image for every single one of these, and you're good to go. I'll talk about this in a bit. Platform clear logos and the debate that I had when doing that. And then I have a theme folder with all sorts of backgrounds and stuff that have the mock-ups in there. And then I have these arrows, so that I sort of like created graphics in a way that I think in my mind this theme's gonna go. Okay. So before we start, I wanted to show you guys exactly how do you find out the platform standard, like the naming convention that LaunchBox uses. Well, one thing that you could do is you can go into LaunchBox, and when you import your ROMs, you'll get a drop-down menu, and it'll ask you which platform that this game is for, and you just go through the list, and that list has every single platform that the LaunchBox database has in the naming convention. If you don't want to do it that way, then you can do it this way. So there is a tool inside of the community theme creator called in utilities, build a fake ROM list. So let's click that button. Down here, it's building a fake ROM list, and what it does is it goes into the LaunchBox database and it creates a text file that's named the name of a game in the LaunchBox database, and it will create a text file for every single game within that LaunchBox database. So this might take a little while, but I'll show you where it goes. So if I open up a file explorer and I go into the tools, here we have a fake ROM list. If I go in here, you can see that it's starting to build my fake ROM lists. If I go inside of one, here's all of the games, all titled the same way that it is within the LaunchBox database. I'll cover this more in a future episode, I think, not this one, on like why would you even want that. But a side effect to this is that now I have all of the names right here that LaunchBox, based on LaunchBox standards of the names that they use within their program. There's all the platform standards right there, and I just use these to name all of the images the way that it should, and that's how I got all these images. Sega Saturn, Sega Mega Drive, right? It's not just Mega Drive. It's Sega Genesis, not just Genesis. It's Super Nintendo Entertainment System and not just Super SNES or SNES. And that's just sort of the standard. There's a lot of systems in here. I don't think it covers every single one in the database yet. I mean, it's a community project. You can always go in and help them flesh that system out, the database out. But it's fairly complete, I would say. All right, you can see how long that this takes. It's creating thousands and thousands of files. Let's see, we're only on N. Let's see how many files this actually built. 42,000 files so far. All right, so that's how I created this. That's how I got the naming convention. And I think I have everything in there. Let's start building the theme. Oh, I can't. Apparently it's locked community theme creator. So I guess in the meantime I can talk a little bit about why would you need these files then? Well, I guess the story really went is that I was building Bannerbox, and I knew that in order for a theme like this to work, I would need to create files or create a banner for every single game. Now, obviously, I can't create a banner for every single game, so the compromise was I'd create banners for all the games that I had, all the games that I deemed to be like a major system, and then we needed a way to create these games but still have them work on everyone else's LaunchBox. So at first we were creating banners and we were giving it the name of the title of the game. So the file, let's say you had Super Mario Bros, then we would have a Super Mario Bros.png, and then that would work. It would bring it up into the banner box and you would see the banner. But the problem is that there were certain games that just kept changing their names. And there was a lot of games that I found in my system that weren't linked to the LaunchBox database, and then therefore it just sort of assigned it a name. Like I gave it a name of the ROM or something, and the banner ended up being a name that wasn't the name of what was in the LaunchBox database. And so even though it would work on my system, on your LaunchBox, you might have a different name for it, and then therefore it wouldn't show for you. And sorry. And so basically what happened was we thought about it for a little bit, and I told Y2 Guru, why don't we just call it the name, like, can we call it the name of the LaunchBox ID? If the title of all the images were the LaunchBox ID numbers, then that would work on everybody's system, no matter which names that it came up with, and no matter which name it was using in the LaunchBox database at the time. And so that's what we ended up doing. I'll talk a little bit about that later. We are ready to go. Let's look at the final result here. We've got 169 systems that generated 91,000 files. Not bad. Anyway, a little bit of a detour. Okay, so I have an image here, and I'm going to call this image, let's make it full screen, and I'm going to use one of the mock-ups. You can see here you have the alignment on the image, backgrounds. One thing that you'll note is that the way that this thing is structured for 90% of the items is that if you're wanting to call an image, let's say you wanted to call box art image, you wouldn't go in here and look for box art. Look, there's not even that many categories. You would first say, I'm choosing an image, and then you would go into the image section here. You choose, okay, a box art is a metadata image, and I want it to be default game box. And as soon as you choose that, it chooses the game box of the game that you're currently on and shows you what it would look like. You have lots of different options here, but what I want to do right now is I want to call a specific media image. So I know that it's in a folder called theme. Right, so this just reads all the folders within your media folder, and you saw earlier that we placed all of these folders in there. And in here, I believe we're looking for the platform view. Yeah, so there's my mock-up. This is what I want it to look like. I'm going to place that in the background for positioning. I don't really need this rectangle. And this wheel, I don't actually need it. I need it to say, okay, it controls which direction the menu is going to flip. But other than that, like, I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure why I'm doing curve amount. Like, we don't need any of this stuff. So I'm just gonna put it really tiny. Tiny as I can get it, and just put it in the corner. Let's put it in the corner here. 0, 0. X and Y position right in the corner. Hopefully it's out of the way. Okay, so let's start building it. I'm going to start with the top here. Let's see, the date. Let's go to, so we got 2 dates on this. There's system date. So I think that's just like your date, the time that it is now on your computer. Or release date. So this is the release date of the game. Here it is. You see that nothing actually shows up because I haven't given it any properties yet. I'm gonna put it in the middle here. The color, let's see what color that I've chosen. So I got this little program. really tough to eights, all eights around. Okay, so paste 8. Keep going down. Do I have a fallback? So there's some systems that don't have release dates. For example, arcade, they don't really have it. So I'm just going to put 19XX. If there is no release date, that's going to choose this fallback value. And you can see it started doing it. It's really tiny. I know that the font, I believe, was called Acre. So let's choose that. Let's make it like 20 and see what we got here. I'm gonna move it closer to here. You can see it's very similar to building something in Photoshop. Okay, something like that. Now we gotta make it bigger. That look the same size to you? It's kind of too small, right? What do I have it as? 32? Looks too big now. 31? Alright, I can move this element with my cursor keys as well. Wow, is it really 31? That's perfect. Okay, 31. Font size. So I can change the name of this to give it something more context, but pretty much what I want. Platform release date. Oh, let's take a look at the second option here. So this is, I think, the manufacturer. Let's take a look at that. So I'm going to go down here, and within text is very similar to image element in the sense that within text there's lots of options. You can have a constant value or you can have metadata value. So I go to metadata. Here's all of the options that I have. I'm going to say developer. Give it the same font. In this case, I'll show you what you can do. I can copy the values of this or some of the values of that. I'm not sure if this is going to copy over specifically. Let's see what we got. I can paste the foreground, which gives me the color. So this section. I can paste just specific properties of it. The layout puts it directly over that, so it gives it the same size. Same alliance, same or alignment, same appearance. I don't think there's an appearance really. Yeah, that doesn't really do much. Let's move it over. So if I hold shift, it'll go even further. Whoa. And if I don't hold shift and I'm moving my cursor, there you go. You can see all the grids, smart guides. What do they call it? Guides. Gives me exactly where I want to put it. So there's nothing showing up in Platform Developer. Let's change the font to the same font style. Give it 30, 31. So maybe it's a manufacturer. No, nothing showing up there. Oh, you know what? I thought it was an Atari 2600 because I saw that, but I'm not. Let's go to Atari 2600. There you go. So this one's just called Text 1, so I do need to call it something like Platform Manufacturer. And then what was Platform Developer? I think they're similar. I like the developer. Manufacturer makes it sound like it's make it really wide. The people that manufactured the system itself. Oh, so there actually is a different color that I had mocked up for this. Let's just find out what it was. 3 A's. Okay. Let's place it exactly where I need it to. So that's exactly aligned to the release date there. Okay, so far so good. I need it like that. Okay. Okay, let's talk about sort of the elephant in the room. I had a lot of debates with myself about this. So this is a giant text. I believe that the text is, let's just call it platform title. Do this step quickly. Platform name. Font was Babas New Bold. So platform notes. No, I said platform name. There you go. It's like really big. Oh, I just put that in fallback. Let's say 100. Not even close. 150. Not even there yet. 175. 200. Whoa. So I can do it this way. Whoa, look at that. I would need it much bigger than that. So let's do 250. Alright, so somewhere in between there. 230. Still a little bigger. 225. There, so that's 225. Holy Christ. And really, the problem with this is that we could do it this way, but I can't do so. If I look back at their website, do I still have their website open? Trying to see. I do. So you can see that some systems aren't the same name. Like you can see here, the way that he got away with doing it so giant, because he made it so some of the system name is smaller on top than the other one, and the other part, giving it a specific standard. So that it can only go so far, it won't go past a specific point. You can see here, Virtual Boy, Game Gear, none of the systems that he's created. And he would have had to have gone through this one at a time, one platform at a time. You know, went here and said, okay, I could call it Sega Dreamcast, but that would just make it too long, so let's just call it Dreamcast, and then go to the next one. You know, I call it Nintendo GameCube, or well, let's just put the Nintendo up to here. Now, I can't do that here. So at best, if I did this, and I know that like this is a very short title, I would have to do what's called trimming. So I could do like a character trimming, and what that will do is, if I went to a system like we know is long, Nintendo Entertainment System, I would see Nintendo Enter Ta, and then this ... is the character trimming. I'm like, okay, is that okay? Are people okay with that? Is that the best we could do? So then I thought, well, something I could do is, there's only so many platforms, and what I could do is I could create specific platform images for every single one that's in the database that we know of. You know, those 160 or 70, plus I can do some known playlists, like the genre playlists that get auto-generated, and the arcade playlists that get auto-generated within LaunchBox itself. I can create an image for all those, and then I have control over what they're gonna, like the positioning, the way that he's sort of done it. So that's also what I did. So instead of doing it this way, I created an image. Title. So this is the image version of the title. Call it metadata. So what this is saying is that what the name is called, the platform. So bring up the platform name take that binding of the platform name, let's say Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and then look inside of this image folder. So I'm going to go in my Platform Clear Logos image folder for an image. Right now it's looking for the image Nintendo Entertainment System, and I have an image in there called Nintendo. And then we're done. Like, this would solve that problem as well. Let's do a center. That's sort of where I went. I'm not sure if this is what everybody would want. I don't know. You guys can decide later. It's about, if I hold the control, I can change the size up or down, just minutely, or out like this. That almost seems like it should be raised a bit or lowered a bit. Anyway, something like that, and then I could say, okay, the image shouldn't go past, I don't know, this point or something like that. Whoops. I just changed. There we go. Okay, so all of a sudden, I get the same results, but then I could even have the, like, I created the images. I'll show you the. These are all the images I had, and beforehand, I made the decision of which one needs to have the little text on top to fit everything into. I had a specific length, and I said if it goes past this length, you know, take some of the title and then make it smaller like that, and ended up with, wow, 310 items. That covers a myriad of systems, and if you don't have any, I'll probably release the, I did this in Photoshop, I'll probably release the PSD file. People can create their own if they want. This is sort of the way that I decided to do it. Both work, but both have pros and cons, right? With the platform title, you have more control. Platform title image, you have more control, but you need to have an image for every single situation. And so for now, I'm not going to use that one. Okay, so I've done this part and this part. We're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the background. So that's 5 more images, and then we're basically laid it out. So I'm going to go through this, and hopefully a little quicker now. I don't talk. So this would be, let's do the text scroller. So the text scroller is technically not a text. Should be called, let's say, platform notes, or then don't need a background for that because it's just black. I have the same color as this, I believe. So let's grab that color again. Actually, I think it was just 8s all around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could also click this here and then just choose a color if you don't want to do this hex number business. But if you don't know, I think a lot of people that know Photoshop would know that the hex color is essentially something like the first 2 numbers represent like red, and then green, and then blue, something like that. And since it's a hex number, it goes from 0 to the letter F. It's like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then A, B, C, D, E, F. Well, this is not a hex course, but that gives you a little bit of background on why there's all of a sudden letters. Okay, so keep not doing this right. I believe I need to type it in and then click the alpha there. You can also do gradients as well. So I could sit there and have the text or rectangles or shapes, that sort of thing, have like a nice gradient. in this program, and you can see it's got 4 gradients you can play around with. And let's say I left it like that, for example. Come down here, I choose the platform notes. Look at that. It just goes through the gradient. That's funny. Well, you could make it look good if you had some nice gradients. Let's just put it back to... Keep pressing enter. Maybe enter should be an option, I should ask. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Press enter again. Oh, switch it to solid color. There we go. Okay, choosing the try to choose what the font size, I believe it is 20. That's pretty spot on, eh? It's already scrolling. Stop scrolling. About that, let's say. Oh, similar like that. So there's a begin delay. This is how long should it wait, and something like seconds before it starts scrolling through the rest of the description. And the scroll speed, I think 4 is not bad right now. I know Y2Guru just spent a lot of time building his own scroller before he was using an already built scroller within LaunchBox, and he didn't think it was good enough, so he made it better. So looks like 4 is great. Okay, so far so good. There's a fallback value that I could choose, but in this case, I don't really have anything to say. Like, if there was no notes, what would you want it to say? I think that pretty much covers that. Let's do the enter part. So this would be 2 items, so I might want to choose a new group. Let's say enter. I don't know why I do this, just OCD. This could be done with not a rectangle, sorry. This could be done with a frame, and I could make the frame, it looks white, but maybe it's off-white. Yeah, it's off-white. So the background would need to be this. Whoa, that was not right. Not grabbing that color. That's odd. What is it grabbing here? The first time I've ever seen it do that. Okay, I think it's white. Let's just do background as all white. 100% it looks like. The foreground, I believe, is used for the if you needed a border. In this case, we don't have a border. I'm not going to use one. The reason I'm using a frame is because I need it to have rounded edges, and it's probably something like 10. I'm going to guess. Be a lot more. 25. Let's do 25. All of the corners. A bit better. Let's put it into position. Very hard to tell. Okay, so I went too far. Maybe just 20. How's that look? Yeah, that looks about right. No, not perfect, but pretty good. Let's do the enter. So this will just be text. So the frame would just be the background. Enter background. So like a button. This would just be enter like the text part of it. I believe it's the same font as up here, but I need the color to be black. There we go. Perfect. Now I just type in the word enter. Give it a good size. Center that up. What I can do here to make sure that it's centered is copy the background and just paste the layout. It's exactly the same size. Now I just play around with the font size. 32. Right. Too big. Too big as far as I can see. Turn my monitor a bit. That looks better. I mean, the whole thing is too big, but be this size. There we go. Almost like a little bit too big in general, I would say. Just minutely close it off 1 pixel. Do the same thing with the text. Alright, so now I'm just gonna move it so that it's over it. Oop. Perfect. Okay, so we're getting there. We are getting there. One more image, the controller right there. So this shouldn't be too hard. I just looks like the controller should just be on to the left alignment, maybe the top, so that's always the same distance from the enter button. Let's call it controller. Perfect. Metadata. So in this case, there's no controller metadata. So what I did was I put folder inside of the media folder, called the folder controllers, and then inside of there's all of the different platforms, all the different controllers which are named after the platforms. So all I have to do is say, I'm looking for metadata based on platform name within the folder controllers, and boom, there's the Nintendo Famicom controller. And I'm just going to align it to this. I'll align it to the, see here, align everything sort of together, make it as large as this, something like that, and then maybe something like that. Too big. Something like that. Too big. Okay, so that just leaves 2 more elements. Let's do the other easy one, which is the exactly the same as controller, the background. Actually, I'm gonna need to do a couple more elements, aren't I? So image, I'll place this at the very bottom. Other than this is the mock-up. Or let's say this is like my reference, right? This is my background image. I need it to sit on the right side, and I need it to, actually, let's just do full screen. Right side. We're doing exactly the same thing. We're looking for platform, so platform name. Backgrounds. Yeah, I I might not have a background for this, do I? Yeah, something is wrong. Let's take a look. Background image. That should be right. Let's see what background I chose. Maybe I just chose the wrong folder here. For editorial. Oops. Media and backgrounds. Everything looks good. Right, so Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Famicom Disk System. Well, let's see what I did. Platform and nested name. That's really what I want, although... So it's picking the controller one, but it's not picking... I think this is just a bug. Yeah. Okay, so in this case, there's going to be a... Did create this sort of fallback. Oop. Want that. Yeah. Actually, I was going to call it Editorial Noir, wasn't I? Let's do that quickly. Oh, I have something open in the background here. It's probably this one. Uh-oh. Let's pick editorial again and change the name. Got something open. There we go. So you can kind of see that this should be black all the way here. So one more element here that I'll need to put just above background image. I'll probably just do a rectangle here, make it full screen, linear gradient. This should be white, and then this should be black. White. No, and black. I have this backwards, don't I? Here we go. So then I can control exactly where I want that fade to take place. Oh, this one. Actually, I don't want it white, do I? I'd really want it black, but alpha to be 0. Same with this one. I want it to be black. Oops. And alpha 0. Okay. Cool. I can see that I wanted it over a bit more, maybe. Something like that. That's good. Well, so far so good. I'm going to reset this just to see if I can get rid of that bug. Just double check inside of media. There's a folder called backgrounds. Inside of backgrounds, there's all the folders. It's all the images that are named properly. All right, well, maybe I did something wrong. Create a new image and just see what happens. Do the same thing. Metadata. Platform nested name. Interesting. It's working for every single one but backgrounds. So let's just do something quickly here. Let's just rename backgrounds to something else and see what happens. These little weird... Oh, you know what it is. I know what it is. It's not that there's a problem, it's that all of the images are JPEGs. And this program will only use PNG files. So there's something that I could do about that quickly just to move forward. Instead of using a folder of all of this, let's instead use the media override. So BigBox has a bunch of specific overrides for videos and images. So if you're wanting to override a user's platform video or something that they have on their system for a specific theme platform video that you want, or background or images of any kind, then this is where you would put it. So within platforms, I can put fan art here. Okay. So if I put it here, that should be red. Let's... But at this point, I wouldn't need this. I would just need to point this to fan art. There you go. And now you can see that it's starting to use the backgrounds. Take a look at a few of them. We're basically looking pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to find... What I'm going to do is I'm going to find this. Why is the enter not working? Let's take a look. Enter is behind. That's interesting. There you go. Everything is working fine here, and we just got one more element to do. Let's bring this forward so that we can have a look. This one here, and here's another sort of controversial topic. Right now, in order to do this, we can't, essentially, in this program. And the reason is, there's no way, technically we're going to call it parenting. We're not able to embed certain elements inside with other elements. In this case, like a stack panel would have worked well right now. I know that's coming into the theme creator. It's not here now, and the reason is because this first number, 585, let's say, games, that's dynamic. That dynamically changes. It could be in the hundreds, could be in thousands. If it's in thousands, then it needs to push out this available games text a little bit so that it's spaced out properly. But it can't really tell that right now. So instead, we have a workaround, which I'll do. So Y2 Gurus included this user source. So user source is sort of like the old way that we used to code. So in this case, I'm going to say this is total games user source, just so that I know. And inside of the user source down here, we create a file. I'll just call it total games. And then it's just a text editor. And I had saved, if I can remember, I had saved this code that I created for a previous theme. All it says is that within this text block, this is what we can't do. So within this text block, which ends here, I want to make sure that everything inside of this text block will have these properties, this color, use this font, and then be this size. Oh, where's the size? Yeah, be this size. So Y2Guru showed me a trick for this. I'm hoping this will work. Prop text1. I hope I just have to name it text1. And then inside of it, first display the total games, and then display something called just a text available games. This is not the only way you could do this. I could have done this with multi-bindings and string formats or something. But this was the easiest way that I could think of. So there it is. I mean, at the same time, I believe I need to create another text file and just give it the size that I want. Oops. Interesting. Did that just change the font size of this? No, that just reset that. Text1. Nothing would basically be in this one. Let's just call it total games font size. So I'm using that for font size. This goes here. It should be far enough out that it'll just expand when I need it, and that takes care of the platform view. So let's get rid of this reference. Okay. Well, let's just go through some of this here. Now you see that the user source doesn't really work within the editor, but it should work when I import it, when I publish it. So let's go to publish theme. It automatically builds the theme from my raw creator data and puts it right into Big Box for me. So let's open up Big Box. Okay. Let's take a look. Looks nice. So if I scroll up and down, okay, so Windows doesn't seem to have a controller. Oh, and I never really finished doing the release date. Gotta do that. You can see I didn't even put enough space for that manufacturer, or whatever I called it, platform developer. Gotta put more space there for it. Not a problem, but overall, so far it looks pretty good. Okay, let's get rid of this. Okay, so it was like with this one. Oh, here I just call it Sony application. There we go. So make that bigger. Too high. Not bad. So this one, the reason why it's not working is because I actually need to set a format. So the format, you can see you can have the dates in many different formats. Let's choose just this one, just the year. There it is. How does it look now? Not bad. I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, so fix that problem. I think we're good. So there's really a couple things here. Now that we have that, we want to, like when, at the beginning of the stream I said, first I did the layout, which we did, and then we do the animation. So there's nothing really telling people that, like which way that the game menu should go. That's why you might have seen that I created that those arrows. So let's add new element, and let's just do this would kind of be the menu. Because we're not actually using the wheel, I have it in the corner there. I'm gonna use this as the wheel. So let me bring the platform image into here. Then I'm going to import another image called arrow up. So it's not metadata, it's an actual, just one image called arrow. There it is. Actually, I'm going to make this align down. I do that. How big, and I'll just place it like that. And what I want it to do, let's worry about the animation part now. What I want it to do is every single time that I move up or down, I want it to do a little bit of, actually let's do this. Very bright, let's bring it down to like 50%. Then put this point of origin down to the bottom. The point of origin is where the animation will come out of. So if I want to make it bigger, it will start at the bottom center and then make the rest of the items bigger going up. Kind of uniform. If I started it in the left corner, then the animation would start in that left corner and then go out that way. That's what the point of origin does. I'm gonna scale it. So starting with the current scale, I want it to go to 110%, like that, and last like nothing, like 0.2 seconds. Sure, let's do an ease in and out. Okay, so and then I got to do that same exact thing with scaling the height. We'll start at zeros. We'll scale the height. Also 0.2, so it's going to get bigger height and width at the same time, so it's going to look like it's growing very slightly. Let's take a look. How slight is that? Okay, so of course didn't quite do that exactly the way that I wanted. There's three ways that you can have animations go. The first way is you can make it do it, the animation go immediately after the page loads. You can make it during selection, so as soon as you hit the up or down button, then the animation will just instantly go. Or you can make it do the animation after you've selected your item. So you'd press up or down, you would select a game, it would land on the game, and then the animation goes. So in this case, I want it to happen exactly when I press up or down. So it's like the context, it gives you some sort of reaction when you're pressing up and down. So the user kind of knows that it's doing something. One thing that I didn't do here is scale it back. So up or down. 0.2 is too much here. Let's do 0.1 for each one of those, and then we got to scale it back to 100%, don't we? So the current scale width, which is 110, bring it back down to 100, and also 0.1. So we got to do the same for, let's say, height. Also duration of 0.1 seconds. Good. Take a look. Oop. Does like that little oop. Okay, a couple more things we need to do to this. Arrow up. Let's start it at 75%. Sorry, new opacity. Let's start it at 75% opacity, and I want to up it to 100%. Actually, I could just add it to the same slide or storyboard. So let's do opacity. We're starting at 0. Oops. Okay, so a new opacity. Let's start it at 75%, bring it up to 100%, using the same easing mode. Then, at 0.1, current opacity back down to 75%. So it also will flash a little bit, like become brighter slightly. Oh, I was right the first time, 75%. And it's not, it's very subtle. Okay, so here's the last thing we need it to do. We need it to not be there unless people we need it to not be there unless people are actually selecting something. Let's think about how we would do that. So at no time do we want it to be there unless this might interfere with the other one actually. Or, okay, so this is another way of looking at it. We want it to be there all the time. But after 2 seconds, no, after 1.5 seconds, I want it to go to 0. I want it to go away. Something like that. I want it to be there, and I want you to not be there. But I don't want it to fade right away, so what I'm gonna have to do is I'll say 100% for 1.5 seconds, and then at 1.5 seconds I want it to go away and have it only take 0.25 seconds. Okay, so far so good. At this point, I think that the arrow is ready, and I just need to duplicate it. So it duplicates everything, even the animation. I'm going to call this arrow down. I'm going to flip it in this. Really not the best way of doing this. So a better way is, I think it's Shift Control, and then I can move it. Yeah, and see how the color changes when it's exactly. It's a little bit lighter blue when I get it perfectly lined here. Place it here. Also going to put the point of origin to the top, which means I can bring it down a little bit. And I'm going to vertically align it. Oh, okay. Let's save that, see if that's really the case. Yeah, because I flipped it. Alright, so is that where I want it? Alright, so every single image, I didn't mention this before, has that same property that the animations do, where you can have the image load while you're selecting, or have the image load, or actually every element, images and text, have it load while you're selecting, or have it load after you've selected an item. And so this would be an instance where the title, I'd want it to have change, I want it to change while I'm selecting. So here in appearance, either once you select an item, or while during you're selecting an item. During selecting an item. All right, during selection. So in this case, when I go up and down, then the selection of the title instantly will change to the next one, showing me what will be load up if I choose to end and stop selecting an item. So let's go to CD. Take a CD. It's instant. We see how everything else is taking like a little second to load. So it's basically saying, are you sure you want to? Gives it like a second before loads all those objects, and that's what that property does. Okay, so at this point it's done as far as the selection goes, but let's have some fun with this. You can see that the arrows up and down appear, and then will go away when you deselect it. But everything else is sort of still there, so I don't want any of this stuff to be there. Let's make it invisible until you've actually selected an item, and then bring it into focus. So we'll do the animation for one item, and then we can paste that selection onto every other item. So let's start with the controller. It's the biggest one. So animation opacity, I want it to not be there. I want it to be the opposite of the arrow, right? Let's look at what the arrow does. The arrow says, oh, immediately. Of course, I don't want that. This is also during selection. I want it to be the opposite of this. Let's paste it into the controller and then just edit it to be the opposite. So I want it to be 0%. And then I want it to be 100%. Let's see what that looks like. The arrows fade out and then this fades in. Okay, but let's do something even fancier than that. Let's add, let's see, is this during selection? So I can add it here. I can say move up and down. Let's do this up and down. This gives it some like a little bit of a smooth transition when it appears. So at 0, I want it to be at my current location. No, defined location. For the same amount of time. Let's do 1.4. Almost 1.3. And then 1.3. Move up or down. I'm still in my current location. Let's say in my, no. See, this is not what I want at all. New location. There. Just something like that. Slightly above. So 666. And at the current location of 666, go down to the defined location and have it last 0.5. See what that does. So you'll know that when moving objects like this, it doesn't appear in this designer mode. I do have to save it, and now it should appear. See how it just slightly comes down and places itself perfectly where I want it to. So if let's look at that again. Just as it comes into focus, the opacity comes up, it's already moving, and it's just going to place itself there. Very subtle. And that's exactly what I want. I want it to come down and just place it going out from the title. But at this point, the best thing I can do is create a new group and call it like elements below title. So this is the title here, so let's just put it below. Of course, and I have the enter. Let's take a look. So we have the background. So this could be like background. Okay, so what do we have? We have this total games. Oops. We have this one here. Scroll. Place it up into here. And we have the controller. So let's take the controller, place it here. And I'm going to create a new folder or group called elements above title. This is just for organizational purposes, really. We had the release date. I can't see it. Let's put it here, bring it up here. and the platform manufacturer. Okay, why did I do that? Just so that I could separate the elements, because they're going to have slightly different animations. We're going to copy and paste the animations here. Let's take a look. Let's just see what it looks like. Oh, I see. So each one will need to have slightly different starting points. That. I'll just paste it there. Okay. But for the next one, no. Gotta do the same for these two elements. I'm just sort of eyeballing it here. Well, let's see what we got. There you go. If I switch, you're selecting, and then there's the items. You're selecting. There's the items. Okay. So the top is going to be similar. So let's paste the animate for both of these. Let's change where the starting point will be. We're going to go below it. Then I want it to slide away from it upwards. And since they're on the same level, I can just paste the same. Should work. Let's see. Not bad, right? Okay, so far we've made it look really nice, but let's do one last thing here. The background. So why don't we just put some cool transition into the background here. Let's make sure I did this right, because I always forget. Yep, during selection. There you go. So background image. Why don't we have it move from the left or right off the screen from the right here, and then have it slide in after 2.5 seconds. Have it take 2.5 seconds to slide in, I should say. Once selected. We select something. Okay, so that might that might be a little bit too long. Let's do 1.5. If it comes in at the same time as everything else, is that too much? Okay, so we're gonna get this weird thing going on here, but I don't think that that will happen in the publish theme. Let's take a look. Almost seemed like it didn't publish there. Oh, it did. Let's look at what it will look like in Big Box. Something not great just happened. I think I just broke Big Box. Try that again. I think it's not publishing. Oh, let's make sure it's closed. Yep. That's going like way too fast. Well, there's not really that much in there. Go into, yeah. Let's take a look. Did it copy over everything? Yep. For some reason I'm not seeing my video, and we're getting the error. I'm guessing it's a theme error. Let's switch themes to something else, just make sure. Something that I know is working. Yeah, okay, so or if it's the background that's doing it. I'm guessing it's not, and it's just some weird bug. So let's move on to the next step here. I'll fix that later. I said we would do the text games view. Let me do all the stuff that I've been talking about this whole time, and let's just quickly see what I can do here. So, all right, background. Or I'll put the background image. Oh, I believe it's this one. Nope, that's one of the layouts that I was using earlier. Before I had my mock-up. There we go. So the wheel is here, and at least with the text view we can have an idea of what we see. So again, the wheel is sort of the only thing that we actually have to do a little bit of coding for. I'm using the same font as before. I do have an image here actually. Let's call this background. I do have like a reference that I can use. A mock-up that I made. Yeah, here it is. I want it to look like that. If we're wanting it to look like that, then the wheel, here the wheel, if I go to like one of these presets, like preset 3, you can see all this styling code. Just gonna drag all that text into a new one called, let's call it editorial, no, let's just call it games view. Text games view. Paste it in there. Alright, so I don't want a drop shadow. Not sure about the border thickness there. I don't think we need border thickness. May need margins. Okay, so what do I know that we need? Don't need this border brush. The background we will definitely need. So what is the color of the background? Thing is still not working properly. first time that's ever happened, actually. The program's been pretty neat. It's working now. Okay, so that's the one we need. So here, when the selection is not active but it's selected, the item is selected, put the background color as this, and the text element. Hope this is working now. Be on a different. Okay, it's not working. So let's do old school. I used to use Photoshop for all this stuff. Must have edited it recently. Let's go into, oh, here it is. Okay, so let's take a look. What color is that? Can't be right. Let me just zoom in. That one, right? Sure. So well, the text color will be that. The background was that. But every other color of the text should be this. That is. Let's copy 575757. Okay, so far so good. Except the size. So let's bump that up. Let's take a look at that. What other options do we have? We could make the text list centered or on the right. Don't think we need that for this one. We could gonna do a little bit of padding here. Pad the bottom off a little bit. Maybe 4. It's never ever centered for some reason. The top and bottom of the selected item. I think we're done there. So let's add the other elements. So I'm going to have, let's say, this side here, which let's just call it center game elements. That includes the let's say the video, selected item video. There it is. Place it approximately where this mockup is. Right now we have it stretched, but let's keep the aspect ratio. Oh. Alright, and the last things are the description, so let's, what do we call this? Game video? Game video. Okay, so we have something that we just call a description. Place it somewhere like this. It's just static text anyway. Same font. Description. Pretty good, 22. That was a guess. Seemed to work out. This line, I could recreate that line with a frame. So this is just the top line. Let's just call it description line. I can do that by doing a border thickness of 1 on the top there. Get rid of the background, and then I'll figure out what color that is. This color here. 2B. Paste the color. Okay. Something like that. Can we even see it? Yeah, there it is. Like a duplicate line. Look right over it. It looks like one line now. Okay, and how about the actual description? So let's look at description. Text scroller. This is really the description. Oh. Hey, Joe Jazzy. Thanks, yeah. Got a few playlists going at the moment. I already have the description, so this is description text. This would be description. Oops. This would be the scroller. So we want the scroller to be vertical. To match that color, let's take a look at what color is in this mock-up here. Then like this. Where's that scroller? It's at the bottom here. Get rid of the background. Match it up. Then like this. There we go. Okay, so what do I want the scroller to do? I want it to have that same font. I want it to scroll the game notes. Here, game notes. And we can have it all uppercase or all lowercase. In this case, I don't really need to change that. But we do need a much larger font size. Let's do 15, 20, no. Hard to tell. Move it out. Almost too big. 18. A bit better. Let's go with 18. Well, it's roughly in the right spot, and it's roughly what we need. So the reference image behind is kind of getting a little messy, but what is left here? These items down here, so let's just knock them out one at a time. Let's do a new group, and these would be like statistics. So we've got the, how would we do this? Let's say, so we would go to image. We're bringing up an image of the community star rating. let's do the image is going to have to be on the right side. Okay, so let's do metadata, and we're looking for community rating. And I want it to look in an image folder called star rating white. There we go. Sort of match that up. I can do this with the cursor keys to get it very similar, I would say. How's that? Although it's too bright, so what I can really do is just turn down the opacity, maybe to 50%. That looks fine. Second one looks like multiplayer, so I wanted to put the play mode there. So I'm gonna do text. Have I done text on this? Just random? Yeah. So here I did text. So I'll copy that. This one I'm calling play. Actually, can't do it this way, can I? Play mode's one of those that has its own little thing here. Alright, let's go through it. I think it's the same color as that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Still have it? Because play mode is done a little differently. You could have more than one play modes, so he has these sort of entries of how many play modes you want to put onto a game, and then how to separate them. I'm just going to put one here, and I'll just say unknown. Same font size, or same font size. What font size do you think that is? 18? Actually, it could be 20. A little bigger than the... I also need to make it centered. Or to place it in the middle. There it is. I also need it to be vertically centered. I'm just going to make it the same as, or it's centering to the star rating there. I'll give it about that much to breathing room. That looks good. Last one looks like genre. Genre also has a separate text element for it. How much can I copy over from this? Not sure. Copy the foreground. I can copy the layout. Should be fine because it's sort of what I need. The alignment, which I'll have to change anyway. Appearance and effects, so not really the stuff that I need. I'll move it over to where this is. Something like that. I'll make it come out more, fill the space just in case it's a really long genre. Get the right font, get the right size. Only showing one genre, which I think should be fine. I think we're done. Okay, so we've got those three elements down here. We've got these elements here. Like all these elements here, I should say. Let's do the top here. So I will leave this. Actually, you know what we're missing? We're missing a release date. Not sure why I didn't add that to the mock-up, but want it to be the same as this. So I'll copy that. Here's the release date. I'll put it down into the description area. Layout. Not sure how much, again, could be copied over here. And not much. Fallback, I'll do the same as I did. Actually, no, I can't do that, can I? Let's just do 4 X's, indicating you don't know what the release date is. I'll place it on this side. Means it's going to be right aligned. The font size of this one, 22. 2. Almost not the same alignment, or oops, let's move it down. That's close enough. Something like that. At the top, let's add the platform name. Okay, so platform name, let's go same font. Can I use anything here? Yeah, I can use this. I'm going to say same foreground, same text. Everything else I'll have to do by myself. That pasted the same exact text here, which I don't need. I need this to be the platform name. Game platform. Make it a little bigger. 25. Looks like it's not enough. 30. Better. Let's align this to the center. Move it up. There we go. And you can kind of see that I had it all caps, so I should be able to do that here. Text formatting, all uppercase. There we go. And we'll make it long because some titles are really long. That's pretty good for now. I can get rid of the background. Sorry, the reference image, and let's see what it looks like. Not bad. It's a little sparse. I know I didn't include a few things here. There's spaces for other things, and I think in the original there was something here that just said something like select game or game selection or something. Down here you could add stuff. Well, let's take a look. Like, what stuff could we add? The favorites. I don't really have stuff for this, but broken complete favorites could be dumped here. We did genre. We did play mode. There's region you could add. We did release date. System time, like, sure. Can I paste the text in here? Right, so I could do the same sort of thing that I did there. I can just put that time here. Center that. I can dump elements, but as it is now, it's got most of the main things. And it's got everything that the original really had that we can do in LaunchBox. Let's change the game and see how it looks as it changes. Let's look at some widescreen systems, which I guess would be the Wii U. I told it to keep the aspect ratio. Scroll through some of the games. Let's see how the the stuff down here, the dynamically changing things. I just want to see what it would look like. Gives you an idea. It's not 100% perfect, but it gives you ideas. Okay, the last thing that I wanted to do, so we're basically done. We've created this view here. And we recreated this theme here, or this view here. We have the games view and we have the platform view that came with the original theme. The last thing I want to do is kind of go off on my own here and create a games view that looks as similar to this as I can make it. So I did a mock-up. Here's something that we can do because of it. Because I know it's going to look very similar to this, I could start by copying everything from here that it can and pasting it into a Wheels game view. Not sure what we'll paste over. Okay, some stuff. God, it's pasted everything over. Which it really shouldn't have. Okay. Let's bring in my reference image. If I can even see it, we'll make it full screen. Game view menu. Okay. That was sort of a mock-up, like where am I going to put the menu? This was one of the ones I wanted to put the menu here behind the image or video, whatever I'm going to put there, but I was looking at the idea of putting like the video behind there. But I kind of have another idea, so let's try this. What don't I need? I don't need the enter button. I don't need the controller. Actually, I wanted the controller to be, where is that controller? Instead of it being the controller, I wanted it to be like the cart. Game cart front. Do we have really wide carts? Maybe I'll make it that wide, then we'll position it same place as. And we'll make it, it's the same format, so far so good. Let's look at this. This is probably playing the wrong metadata. We'll switch it to game notes. At least it has the same formatting. We also want to make it go here. I made it a bit bigger. Then this available games, we don't need it all actually. It looks like I had it. Oh, wait. Of course I can't bring it back. That's fine. So I had genre. And it looks like I added 2 genres. I could even add, like, I feel like I have enough space for 3. Not a lot of games have 3 genres, I would assume. Maybe some arcade games. It looks about 30 font size. That text is this thing working yet? It's working. Font color. What's interesting here is that you could have a color that's actually an image and overlay it over your text. Pretty cool, right? Have like a textured font. You'll have to think of a theme for that. Where are we? We're over this wheel index. There it is. So 35. Let's do 35. Is that too big? Be 32. Yeah, 32. Okay, not bad. Let's bring it out to about here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 elements. This should not be here anymore. Where is this? This is within the menu. This needs to be text. Because even though before I was talking about you could create all the different versions of these within an image, like we're talking hundreds. I'm not going to create thousands or like the hundreds of thousands of images for that text to work. This would be platform title. Let's take a look at what we can do here. Game font size. Bring metadata of the game name. Oh, just game. This has got to be quite big, doesn't it? Let's move this game index. Where do I want the index to be? Let's align it to the center. At the bottom, somewhere there. Something like this. Not sure I want it to be much further out there. Okay, let's take a look at what font size that is. Looking at about 100. Let's fix that. 125. Let's just go up by 25 and see. Oh, that looks good. Good. We found it. These are pretty much working, but let's interesting that it allowed me to bring in this. This should be the release date of the game. But maybe I can copy over some of the elements here. Can I paste the foreground? Yeah. Not bad. Except it looks like I have the font a little bit smaller. Well, let's do about a 25 and see what we got here. 25. Yeah, it works. Okay, so far so good. Kind of want that to copy that, then we're going to need to have a text. And let's do publisher. Should be a game publisher here. There it is. And we'll copy the same stuff here. Let's look at what the color is here. Paste it here. What did I say the font size was? 25? Might as well paste the layout. Alright. Now we know it's basically where we need it, and we just move it over. Wonder why I didn't make it dark like up here. Let's do that. I like that better. Okay, so this and this not needed, but you could see that I have all that animation that I created, but all the new elements I can just simply paste the animation onto them. I don't need this group anymore. Don't need this layer. Wheel is still here. Did it get everything that it needs? Yeah. So I don't actually need anything here. So let's point it to something that it won't find any images, so it won't actually load anything. I'm still using this text. So during selection. And there's this. So let's see how I'm going to do that. That's got to be 3 elements. The first one was going to be a frame. Let's take a look at the frame. This would be community. Let's just put star rating and then we'll call it the background. The background's going to be this color. Make this 100%. We'll start off with 10 and we'll see how that goes. Corner radius. This is kind of really tiny. What do we think? Yeah, actually it looks almost exactly the right size. Gotta be a bit larger, but something like that. Okay, so we have the first one there. Second one is going to be an image, and this is going to be the star image. Have it inside of here. There should be something called star, and we are going to just paste the layout over star. No. At this point, I'll use the cursor keys to just position it, make it smaller. One bigger. Looks, it's too big. Smaller, bring it out a little more. Not bad, right? Pretty quick. Last one is just the community star rating as text. We'll bring up some text. We'll call it star rating text. We'll look for the metadata of star rating. Community rating. Case. And I'll say if there is nothing, then just put a 0.0. Give it the right font that I use, and it looks like whatever that is, that's just black. Okay, so black. Black in that one. See how this works. I'm going to tell it to use that layout. Smaller. Oh, we also need this to be center. I guess we didn't need that smaller. Alright, let's pick a size. 15? Too small. 20. Slightly too big. 18. Almost exactly what I had, but you can see that's not quite looking centered. There we go. Push it in one more time, just so that I can make this smaller, and there it is. Recreated it. Let's just push it over. I have those three elements. Let's move the background first. I'm going to select it and move it with Shift and the cursor keys to line it up to the other elements. There it goes. I just got to do the same for these ones. The text. Not bad. So I have all the elements in the front. Now let's do the elements in the back. So I don't think I need this reference image. Let's make it 0 and see what we got. I need to paste. What I have to paste now. This genre, so just the same that I did before. I'll just get something like that. And I'll copy that and paste it onto these two, which are here. Paste animation and the publisher paste animation. So I already did all this work, and that's why I can I do this quickly. Did this work earlier in the video? I can just paste the animation right over. Same with all three of these. We'll just do one of them. Start here. Just paste it over the other two elements. If we take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so, oops. The arrows, we do have to reposition the arrows. They're inside of here, so let's just use the cursors for this. Position it about there. Up one. Bring it up just slightly. See what we got. Yeah, that other arrow on the top, I think still needs to go up a bit more. Now I'm almost thinking the bottom one should go down a little more. Slightly, a little more. The top, just 3 more. Okay. A bit better. Perfect, but perfect enough. You can see that it's already picking a background image. Oh, we can have a background image, but I'm almost thinking like we should put the video there. I mean, there's something to be said about either plastering the video all along the back or just having the video here maybe, but or in the middle. What would that look like? Again, not making it stretch. Something like a drop shadow on it. Choose one of these. Blurred. Let's do to the left. Bottom left. Align it to the center of the middle, I should say. That look like. I don't know, like adds an extra element, and is that working for anybody? It's just sort of floating there, right? Not quite part of the anything. Just to keep it consistent with the platform view. I mean, I gotta choose. Do I want just the image, static image, or the video? I mean, I guess I could do both. But for you guys, I mean, I'm just gonna pick one, and then if anybody watching this in the future, I am releasing these files, so if you wanted the fan art to be in the background, you can always create it yourself. Well, let's do that. Place this behind the rectangle and then make this Can I make it full screen? Don't think so. Let's get rid of the drop shadow because I don't need it. Put this in the top all the way to the bottom. So the best way I found is to just calculate it the height of your monitor. My monitor's height is 1080. There. I think it's 1440. Needs to be. And just slam it against the side with my cursor. And just because I can, I will put scan lines. I like scan lines because I just don't like to see the watching a video without the scan lines, because I grew up with the scan lines. Really kind of ruined some of it for me. But they're optional. I think I included it here. These are the scan lines that that Wall Machine provided in the Retrotastic video. So I decided I'll use it. It is a bit different than the one that I have. But they're good. I'm gonna reduce the opacity a bit to 50%. Maybe that gives it a nice balance. And then I'm going to get rid of the background image altogether. So at this point, I don't know why I added those arrows. Actually, I spent all that time on it too. Because I do want the wheel. After I ruined the wheel, so let's bring it back to some sort of vertical wheel. And I want to move this all the way to the corner here. Just make sure it's in the corner, and then I want to bring it out here. Oops. Maybe about here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make the wheel slide in from the right. So I'll show you guys sort of how to do that. Well, I might as well just call this the wheel. I do need a background, and I'm thinking of just a rectangle. So this is the wheel background. I want some sort of grayish tint, maybe just an exact gray. And then I want to make it a 30% opacity. I also kind of want the wheel to be... Okay, I'll just use clear logos. There's no way to get the wheel to have an opacity, so I almost need to just add it. So let's give it like a 75% opacity. Add it as an animation. Do it immediately, we're good. The wheel, have the opacity there. Let's just copy the wheel, paste the layout. Okay, so now I have not really digging the color. Something like that. Maybe I just needed it to be a bit brighter. Yeah, let's just do 65. And then I can even make it darker, I guess. It's gonna be that bright. Bring it down here. Even more. Okay, so let's stop there. And so we have the wheel, it's stationary, so let's give it the animation that it really needs. So I'll try to explain this out loud on how we can get animation so that when you do start moving the wheel appears, and then when you stop moving the wheel kind of hides back to the right side. This is going to have to be done in a couple different steps. So the first step is when I press up or down, make the wheel appear. So let's do that step. So at 0, move left or right. I want it to start on the right side off the screen to the defined location, which is where I defined it here. And in 0.5 seconds, maybe even less than that, 0.35 seconds, let's slide in the wheel. Then make sure that this is during selection. So when I start selecting an item, bring the wheel to the exact, from the right side of the screen into the middle, into where I want it to be on the right side of the actual monitor canvas, I should say. Then I have to bring up another animation and say, at what time? How long do we want the wheel to show? Maybe 1.5 seconds. After 1.5 seconds, from its current location, wherever it is at 1.5 seconds, let's move it off the screen to the right, and let's have it take 0.35 seconds and ease it out. Then this one, I want it to be once selected. So during selection, it comes in. It won't ever go back until 1.5 seconds after I have stopped selecting an item, if that makes sense. Well, if I did that right, I can copy this to the actual wheel. Oops. One at a time. That one. And this one. So what this does is it gives it a nice animation when it comes in, and then it gives it a nice animation when it goes out. Oop, comes in and goes out. So I come here and I start choosing something, and it should come in, and then I stop choosing something, and then it goes out. Kind of quickly. I don't know if people like it that quick, but that's pretty much it. And then when it chooses the item, everything will just change. And I think I have everything changing after you've selected the item to begin with. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. We have, just go over, summarize what we did. We created a really smooth looking platform view, which is almost identical to the Epic Noir. Then we created the text games view, which is very similar to the Epic Noir text games view. And then I added an extra view that looks like the platform view, but for games. So at this point, I'm going to end the video. What I will do is, just like every single week, I'm going to post this theme on the forums at some point, along with, so you can play around with the theme, as well as you can play around with the raw files from, I don't know what to call it, the creator files, which are different than the actual published theme files. And I'm going to probably, at this point, I think I've made 3 themes. One of them is still waiting to be completed, which is the Retrotastic one. There's still some stuff that I gotta do with it. That was a really ambitious one. I'm gonna put probably a forum post. I've been debating whether to put a forum post somewhere on the forums, maybe in the let's take a look. I was debating maybe adding it to this section here, custom theme tutorials. There's not really much in there, and since this is sort of like I'm creating themes and people can watch, and I'll probably place a topic in there, and then just to organize all the videos and what I've done for this sort of series, and people can watch the different videos, and at the same time they could have the files that I created for the videos and mess around with it, and then everybody hopefully will get better at creating themes. So until then, I'll probably theme in the next couple weeks. So thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Till next time.